Yeah, because
Hello.
Hi, Helen.
Hello.
I'm Helen.
Hi, Helen. Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too.
I've found my way into the group. I'm I'm getting better at this sort of stuff. I'm aware that so far the people I'm seeing that you weren't at the last meeting, were you? So
No.
No. So far you've not been involved with proofreading the section, have you?
No.
Right.
But please feel free if I'll if you two want to crack on and then and I can chip in wherever if you like. Or
I don't think Dennis did either, did you, Dennis?
No, I didn't. No, I'm new to this as well this time round.
You're right. We're sort of three strangers sort of talking to each other and introducing ourselves at the moment. What I'd like to do is just tell you what happened last time. We went into a group. There were about 10 or 12 of us. We very quickly discussed an action plan, and what we agreed is that I would send the words. This is a little bit complicated, so just bear with me if I can explain this properly. Basically, what I took was the section 2 words that are in the existing healthcare document. I stripped out all the healthcare related words, so I stripped out all references to fire code and blah de blah, and then so the words that have been stripped out with the healthcare stuff stripped out, I emailed them to people, and the idea would that you'd read through these words and then you would either be happy with those words or you'd look to change some of the words, or there might be a whole new section that you feel it just isn't there at the moment. Bearing in mind that we've taken it from a healthcare background, there might be things like security issues with doors that are not relevant to hospital ward entrance doors and so on, but might be very relevant to housing doors. So, if you can bear that in mind. So that was very successful. I had feedback from 3 different people out of the group, and as a result of that, I've already got.
I'm there now. Yeah.
I've already got a housing draft 1.
Yeah.
So what I'm planning to do after this meeting is send out housing draft 1 and invite you all to review it, to read it, to either agree or disagree with the words, to offer some changes, to offer maybe some completely different relevant. For example, the healthcare version didn't have anything related to composite doors, because composite doors are not really relevant in hospitals, but they're massively relevant as flat entrance doors in housing, aren't they? So what you'll find is draft 1 has already got a section on composite doors, which is brilliant. That's, this means we're already headed in the right direction. We've already made progress. So what I will do with your permission is that I will send. Hopefully I'll have all your email addresses. If not, I'll get them from Richard, and I'll send you all what is a brand new draft 1 housing version. And the idea will be that we'll try and see if we can improve on that as a draft 2 housing version. Hopefully at that stage, we'll then look to put, hopefully, the working group 1, working group 2, working group 3, working group 4, we'll all have a draft which we believe is there or thereabouts. So we'll then put the document back together and we'll then offer it to everyone. Everyone who's involved in this process, they will be able to read the full document. So even if I don't know to what extent you might have been in 2 minds. Shall I go into group 2 to discuss existing doors, or would I prefer to discuss brand new doors, in group 1? Or should I want to be involved in managing and maintaining? Well, what we're saying is that nobody's going to miss out, because everyone's going to have an opportunity to comment on the whole document. But we just thought it was far easier and more manageable to try and get people to focus on just one section, and I think it's been successful. So that's where we're up to. So after this meeting, I will send you the working group to housing draft 1 for you to comment on, and then hopefully relatively quickly, within a week or two, we will agree on the words for what it will then become draft 2. And if everyone in the other sections is happy, at that stage we'll look to put the whole thing back together again as a complete working paper and issue it as the complete document draft 1 for further peer review. And then once I think people within the group are happy, we'll then look to go to a wider audience. We'll look to offer it to people like the ASFP, Aviva Insurance, but then FCC, and then we hopefully get their buy-in and their approval of the document. And then we've got a really robust document that's been very well peer reviewed and should be accepted as an industry standard. So does that all make sense to everybody? Right. By the way, I don't know where you're all from, by the way. I don't know. Where are you from, Helen? Where are you based, and who do you work for?
So I work for JLA. We're quite new on the fire journey. So we got our BM Trada accreditation probably about maybe about 6 months ago, but obviously the accreditation process started obviously way before then. So we manufacture, we install, and we maintain and service fire doors.
Right. Okay. Where are you based? Which part of you cover the whole country?
We do. So our head office, so where I'm in Ripondon, which is in West Yorkshire.
Yes.
Our manufacturing hub is in Staffordshire.
Yeah.
And then we have fire hubs. We have one in Sunderland, one in Hixon. Some of the technical guys, they sit in Cheshire, and we have a hub down south in Frimley as well.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. And how about you, Dennis? Who do you work for? Where are you based?
So I'm a certified fire door inspector. I own my own company. That's all I do.
Right.
And I'm based in the southeast.
Ah, okay. Whereabouts in the southeast?
Ashford in Kent.
Right. Okay.
But travel many miles.
I'm sure. And Andrew, how? Yeah, I think you were at the last meeting, weren't you, Andrew?
Yeah, I was at the last meeting. Yeah.
Yes, of course you were. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Did you get all that? Are you happy with what I've just sort of explained where we're up to? And
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy where we're at. Yeah, we'll just see where we get to today.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Benjamin, do you want to sort of tell us where you're up to, and can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to everybody?
Oh, hi everybody. Hi Dennis, you alright, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Ben. And you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. I'm managing director at IFI Group, various divisions, independent fire inspections, training, engineering, etc. But yeah, I think I was invited to the last session. It's kind of short notice. I didn't really have a chance to get involved, but obviously I'm here today to provide some support in any way that I can.
Right. Thanks, Benjamin. And Malcolm, do you want to introduce yourself to the group?
Hi, Alan. Yeah, I'll put on video now because I'm working off a device, so the bandwidth isn't so great. So yeah, I've been involved in fire safety management for at least 10 years. And I'm also a qualified fire risk assessor, but I also, as a building surveyor, get involved in asset management as well. So I've worked at several organisations putting door specifications together for new and refurbishment works to fire doors, and obviously passive fire measures as well. But currently, I've just changed role. I've gone back onto actually fire risk assessing on site for Northampton Partnership Homes, so I'm sort of contracting out at the moment. I thought this was interesting to see what concepts are going to come in place, because obviously the important part about all this is the keeping of golden thread information, isn't it? You know.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think it's fair to just sort of bring you up to date with something. There's one particular section of the document which I knew would be contentious, and I sort of threw it out there to everyone in the group who'd been at the last group. So I know that Andrew will have been copied in. I'm not sure if others have been, but if you look at, I know it's difficult for you to picture this, because I don't think you've actually received the words yet, or have you? But in the reference document on page 47, has everybody got a copy of the healthcare reference document?
No.
Right. Okay. Well, this should have been emailed out to everyone, but obviously some people are new, so I'll make a note to send the reference document out to everybody. But under the reference document in section 2, which is obviously our working group, point 220, it says that doors competently inspected and remediated under schemes such as LPS 1197 can have third-party certificates conformity issued as evidence that the doors are as tested or have been remediated to the limitations of their repair. Now, I won't necessarily want or ask anyone to comment on that, but that is very contentious, because a lot of people I know are very negative about third-party schemes. Although as an industry, the passive fire protection industry is passionate about third-party certification, I think most of us are aware that there are limitations, because third-party schemes are a little bit like ISO 9001. You know, to some extent, it's up to people where they set the bar. And we know that some bars are higher and more robust than others. So this is a big debate going on. And so I wanted to make you aware of that for those who haven't been involved so far. And there is no doubt that there's going to be a lot of different views on whether we should have that kept in or whether we should change it or whatever. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. But if you bear in mind that this has come out of a reference document that's already been peer reviewed by more than 50 individuals and organisations, including the NFCC, Aviva Insurance, ASFP, obviously BRE, London Fire Brigade, NHS Improvement. That's not to say that everyone's got it right. You know, we've got to take a really pragmatic view on this, and that's not to say that that is necessarily what we want to include in a housing version of this. But I just wanted to raise that because, you know, this is something we can't ignore. We've got to confront it. We've got to discuss it, and then at some point we've got to agree on this one. So when I send you the updated version, sorry, when I send you draft 1, which I issued to people last night, people who'd been involved in the previous work, you will see that particular point is deliberately highlighted, and we know that is going to be something that will need to be discussed and agreed. The reason, by the way, why LPS 1197 is specifically mentioned is that BRE LPCB, under that scheme, they allow people to remediate doors, and then they can be third-party certified to the limit of their repair. So they deliberately have a pragmatic scheme for remediating existing doors that allow those doors to be not as fully as tested. Now, the reason why only that scheme is mentioned is that I'm not aware of another third-party certification scheme which allows you to certify doors within the limits of their repair. But if other people have got better knowledge on that, I'd be really pleased to hear it. But you know, this is very, very important. If you're looking to risk manage doors, which you need to do with existing doors, you know, if you haven't got a golden thread of information on your doors, you either have to replace them all or you have to take a pragmatic view. Now, BRE allow people to take a pragmatic view, especially if you've got 5,000 doors in your portfolio and you haven't got the money to replace them all this year. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to say any more than that. I passionately believe I think this is a really good scheme, but I recognise there's a lot of other people who will have a different view on that. Does anyone want
I'll say
to?
it, Alan.
Yes.
Yes, Ali. If sorry, I didn't put my hand up. Yeah, I mean, I've just come from an organisation where we were using the BM Trada, and they have like the approved repair techniques, and there's like 90 methodologies for repairs to doors. Would that be classed as a third-party certification as well?
I don't know. As you know, Malcolm, with these schemes, the devil's always in the detail, isn't it? So I'm not an expert on the BM Trada schemes. I know that there are a lot of people who are critical of the BM Trada scheme.
I found it very helpful.
Right. Okay. Well, it's obviously the market leader. I think it's the go-to scheme, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you'll find that a lot of people have said, oh, you know, third-party certification schemes don't work. They're not fit for purpose. And you know, the most popular scheme that people are aware of is clearly the BM Trada one, isn't it? So,
yeah.
I think
we don't live in a perfect world, do we? I think that's why we're here talking about.
The biggest problem with third party. Go on,
sorry, Dennis.
The biggest problem I've found is you tarnish all the third party certification schemes with the same brush. Now they all have different ways of achieving the compliance. Some have good ideas and some have they all have good bits and they all have their bad bits. And unfortunately, you always get the bad apple in amongst the bunch. It's like anything.
No, absolutely. I mean, my view is we can't afford to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, third party certification is the future, and whether it's as good as it should be at the moment is, you know, that is a moot point. But I think we have got to, you know, work with what we've got, and we do know there are people in the industry who are striving to make improvements as we speak, aren't there? So, any other points, anybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, third-party certification. I mean, it's easy to sort of give it a load of stick and say it's not working or anything. But at the end of the day, that's what we've got in the industry, and that's what we should be striving towards. Companies which are carrying out these types of work, achieving that, because essentially that's what the gold standard is at the minute. The problem is, with a few of them, I mean, they're pretty all similar schemes, even your LPS one from BRE or your BM Trada, or even your FIRAS scheme, or your IFC certification scheme, or your Blue Sky certification scheme, whichever one you want to go down, they all have these sort of types of maintenance and repair and inspection type services for fire door sets where you don't have any evidence of the actual installation, or you've got no information. But they all rely heavily upon, not necessarily the person that's carrying out the work, but heavily upon the person who's in charge of those works to make the decision and be presented with the facts. So, for instance, if you were to come across a door set where you didn't have any information for, and you was to suggest a repair techniques, what you'd have to do is you'd have to speak to the responsible person, or in writing, and say, well, look, this is a door set, we've got no information. All right, then you haven't got the budget for it. But if you replaced it, you'd obviously have a fully tested, certified system. Or if you did this, you know, you'd be getting probably near to your rating, but there'd be no guarantees that could be made. But that'd be up to the responsible person to make that decision. And pretty much all the different types of certification providers say the same thing. Having just read through the LPS standard, it's the same as the other ones. I used to work for a certification provider. They all sing from the same hymn sheet. So I mean, really, you have to if you're going to reference a certification, you should be referencing them all, because they all have equal value.
Right. Okay. Fair point. I mean, at the end of the day, we will agree, and then it will go out for further peer review, and then there will be people then you'd like to think that people will then give you their views on it, and eventually we'll arrive at something which could be a fantastic document, or it's a bit like a committee, isn't it? What was that famous one where they said that a committee would if a committee was looking to design a horse, they'd end up with a camel, something like that. So, depending on how we do it, it could be a disaster. But I don't think it will be a disaster, because I think the healthcare reference document has been widely accepted. But clearly, we now need to make it fit for purpose for housing, and there might be different criterion, and there might be different different requirements. Any further views on anything? I know it's difficult because the majority of you have not been involved so far in the process. So just to explain again, what I'm going to do after this meeting, I'll ensure I've got everybody's emails for those who attended. I will send you out what was, as of yesterday, the first draft of the housing version, which, believe you me, has already made significant improvements, because Andrew has been involved and has sent thoughts and words, and others. Neil Ashdown has also been involved, and Ian Kavanagh. And so we've made a start down this road, and now what we will welcome is everyone at this meeting to give a further feedback and further views as to what changes should be made, or what additional words, or even, as I said, an additional section. I'm hoping that once we've done that, and I don't know, I think when we go back to the group, we'll probably find that Richard or George are asking for certain deadlines, and I know that they're both trying to get this thing moving really quickly, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. But the thing is, we've all got our day job, haven't we? So, I mean, I sent this revised paper out at something silly like 10 o'clock last night, because I literally had to get it out last night before today's meeting, and I've just had a really, really busy week. But I know that everyone else is in a similar position, because it's just the nature of the industry at the moment. But anyway, I think I'm very happy, very positive. It's going the right way. I thank everyone for their passion. So yeah, I think George or Richard, they will be suggesting a deadline when we'll be looking to finish this process for this particular section, at which time we'll then put all the sections back together again. And lo and behold, we'll have a working document of about 14,000 words, which is tremendous, really, because we should be probably more than 90% there at that stage. And then I think we'll have a further peer review of the complete document, which I think shouldn't take more than 1 or 2 bites of the cherry. And then we'll send it out for further peer review to get the acknowledgement and the approval of other organisations. Very, very quickly, we should have a finished document. I just would like to say that one of the things we need to do is not only get the words right, we've got to get the images right. And I think you'll find that within this document, you've got some photos that are suitable, but clearly this was a healthcare document. So, there are a lot of images currently in the document which are of hospital doors, which clearly were, but more than relevant for a healthcare document, because it would be horrible if it was a healthcare document and it had photos of flat entrance doors in it, wouldn't it? But by the same token, the housing version of this document has got to have good images that are relevant to the housing sector. And so, just on that point, if people could make a note of this, if you do have good images that you'd like to send, which would be great, and you can send them to either myself or Richard or George, or even better, copy everyone in. But what I would ask you all to do is let me know which page you feel this image should be, should be on. And also, can you please describe what we're looking at? Because you'll find that the majority of these doors in the current document, they have a little description that accompanies them. The obvious thing for that is that an image might be obvious to you and me. When we send an image in, we might know exactly what it's showing and describing. It might not be that obvious to other people who come to read it. So, for example, on that door image, which shows you copies of the various approved documents of the building regulations, alongside the door, the words that go with it say fire doors are complex assemblies that have to comply with a range of technical standards. So, I think it's very important that we have a description. If you could suggest why you think why that image is relevant and what you think it's giving an image of, and for what reason. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Any further final thoughts before we go back to the main group? Anybody? Oh, that's good. Okay. I think we all go back to the group by going back into pressing the chat button, do we? Is that how it works? And then or do we go to the original link? Is anyone an expert and could tell us how we do this? Because I don't. I will
send you the link to the main meeting so you can directly join from this chat.
Ah, you're there. How long have you been there, Jace?
Yeah, I've been popping in and out of every meetings, all the groups.
Okay. I hope that other people are more experts at how they use this system, and I'm really, really grateful that you are in attendance, Jace, because I tell you what, it's very, very professional how it works, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you on behalf of everybody.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, well, we're done now. So what you're saying is you'll send us a further link by email, or
yeah. No, we'll put that in the chat. You can just click on the link and join the.
So well, could we follow the original link? Would that get us back as well?
Yeah, follow the original link as well, or just click on the link that I just put in the chat.
Yeah, just put it into the
Right.
chat
Okay.
notes now.
All right, brilliant. Okay. Well, I hope to see everybody on the other side then.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.